If your plants are looking sick, before you do anything, start with these 3 things. Come on, let's talk about what they are. But before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Grow Dots, the easiest way to feed your high-value plants. You mix Grow Dots in once at the beginning of your grow, and they feed your plants all the way to harvest. You don't have to worry about nutrient burn or nutrient lockout. Grow Dots does all the hard work for you. Check them out over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. Come on, High C, let's jump into this.
Okay, this is something that a lot of growers, including myself, struggle with. Plants looking weak, plants looking sick, and not knowing where to start.
Yeah, growers including myself. I just got burnt on this as to where I thought I had nutrient deficiency, and it turned out I had russet mites.
Okay, so let's talk about the most common things that are going to go wrong in your grow, how to diagnose them, and how to fix them.
Let's do it.
All right, number 1.
All right, well, first off, start with an open mind. Throw nutrients out to start off with and just think fundamentals. The plants need to breathe, right? We talk about aerobic microbes. Aerobic means air. The plant roots need air to survive. The microbes need air to survive. Are those roots drowning? If you're overwatering them, if they're just sitting saturated in water, they are drowning. I guess minus sip buckets, which have a way of doing it. But you will drown those roots and they will just not be able to do their work. You can give them as much nutrient, perfect amount of nutrient. Your ppm is perfect, your pH is perfect, but they can't do it. They physically don't have the ability. It's almost like if you gave me everything I needed, but I couldn't breathe. I wouldn't perform so well.
So I ran into this problem with one of my first grows. My plants were looking weak. I thought, well, plants need water, so I gave it more water, and I ended up saturating the plants. There was nowhere for the water to go. I ended up killing my grow.
Yep. Man, I'm thinking there's a female analogy in here somewhere. You know, you give them a little space, you give them a little room sometimes, and they'll come back stronger. But with regards to your roots, you have to stop that environmental behavior, I guess, meaning you have to stop overwatering them. They will come back, but if you just leave something wet, what do we know about leaving something wet?
Oh, it gets all mushy.
Yeah, it starts to degrade. Anaerobic bacteria attack it and they break it down. So we don't want that. We want to encourage aerobic bacteria that are going to break down the nutrients and deliver them to the plant. Not ones that are going to break down the plant.
Yeah, because when I pulled my plant out, it was like mush in the roots.
Yep, that's root rot. They've got there's several different types of root rot. They're fancy words for all you need to know. It's that the plant can't breathe, and so there's no aerobic bacteria. We talk about recharge, putting a bunch of aerobic good guys in there to fight the bad guys. The good guys can't breathe, so the bad pathogens take over, the pathogenic fungi and microbes.
So overwatering your plant can totally wreck it. What about underwatering?
Yeah, that's, you need to be in that Goldilocks zone, right? So if I have too much water, if I'm anthropomorphizing this, too much water, I'm bloated, I'm probably not going to be able to perform very well. If I'm borderline dehydrated, I'm not going to perform very well at all. And just like our organs begin to shut down, it has to do with the concentration of water. So with plants, you're changing that concentration of water. You're taking it to where the pH and the parts per million of nutrient, salts basically, was perfect where you were when you had proper hydration. Now that you've lowered the amount of water, remember we talk about pH being the potential of hydrogen. Water as hydrogen. Now there's not enough water to regulate pH. There's not enough water there's nutrient in there, but then there's salt-based nutrients. Any nutrient, when it gets down to its ionic form, is a salt-based, a metal and a non-metal together. So when you have a bunch of salt-based nutrients and then you lower the concentration of water, you're making it saltier, right? Like if you take ocean water and evaporate it out, you're
just left with salt.
Yes, and you've just changed the concentration, and we know that there's a parts per million range that this plant likes. So when you change that concentration, it's more stress for the plant. So there's a Goldilocks zone with this stuff.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier the way that you get that Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
And this is what I've switched over to now, and
Sure.
It works great. Tell us how you find that Goldilocks zone.
I use sip buckets. You know this about me. I use sip buckets and I use cocoa. cocoa has a great air to water holding ratio as to where even when you completely saturate it, it's still able to hold air. It's light and fluffy naturally. It's because a coconut has to survive, even if it's floating in water. So it's adapted for that. And the sip buckets pull the water. They wick the water up from the bottom. It's a little counterintuitive because you're always taught that plants shouldn't sit in water because they go anaerobic. If you leave just a small amount of water, just a few inches of water, the amount of surface area compared to the depth of the water allows decent enough oxygenation for this to work. That's why those sip buckets work.
Okay, next common problem that might be causing my plants to not do very well.
Right.
We mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, nutrients. Nutrients are I don't know why they're so fun. I guess because it offers you a solution in a bottle where you can be like, oh man, all right, let me pour some of this on. And nutrient deficiencies, I did them in this order because a nutrient deficiency can show up and you're like, why do I have calcium problems? I'm giving it plenty of calcium. Let me pour more on. You know what I say about more on? But it's not that you have a calcium problem. It's that the calcium is stuck in the soil and can't get up into the plants. And for me, when I'm doing it professionally, I will order a soil analysis to see what nutrient is in the soil, and then a tissue analysis to see what nutrient is in the tissue. And that way I can tell if I have some kind of a root problem or an actual nutrient problem. And by the way, I was going to be like, that's super advanced stuff. Maybe it cost $100 to do that. So if you're really into figuring out what's wrong, yeah, take a look.
Well, one of the things too, growing in cocoa, sometimes you can get unwashed, unbuffered cocoa.
Yeah.
And it'll suck the calcium and magnesium out of your nutrients.
Yep.
And won't get them to the plants, causing a nutrient deficiency, but it's not because of the nutrients.
Exactly. It's because of lockout. And cocoa grows in salt. We were talking about it grows in salt water. That's good and bad. And the problem is it holds that salt. So you have to, and it holds it, by the way, in place of where the calcium and magnesium would attach. So that's why they call buffering. You get good quality cocoa. I will shout out to Canna Cocoa. I am obsessed with the real buckets of trying different cocoa so I can include it in the real buckets. And it's just a dummy move. Go get your real buckets and use Canna Cocoa. If you're using any cocoa core, man, that's the stuff that you can take out of the bag. You don't have to wash it. You don't have to buffer it. You don't have to worry about salt in there as well. Okay, cocoa rant over, but it is one of those things that can cause a problem. But with nutrient deficiency, we've got our macronutrients, the N, P, and K. Then you've got your calcium, magnesium, and your sulfur, the secondary. Those are used in a lot, big amounts. And find a nutrient deficiency chart online. There are a ton of them, and each one of these gives a specific tell. The nitrogen starts going from the outside, and the plant becomes less green, or the leaf becomes less green. Magnesium has this, the veins will stay dark. It's called intervenal chlorosis. Calcium has these necrosis, these necrotic spots. So each one of them has a specific tell, a specific symptom. And man, all you got to do is yell it into your phone and you'll get a good chart. And you can figure this out. Oh, hey, one last thing. I mentioned the primaries, the macros, and the secondaries. There's micronutrients. And they're needed in the tiniest amounts. But the key word there is they're needed. Iron. You need a couple parts per million of iron. But if you don't have it, the plant won't work well. If boron, you need the tiniest amount of boron, but it's necessary. Just like we need tiny amounts of vitamins. We need tiny amount of iron, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same thing. But with regards to the micronutrients, it's very rarely a problem unless you're making your own nutrients, whether it's Grow Dots or any other kind of A and B. They're in there in such small amounts that most manufacturers don't slip on the micronutrients. It's very easy to put the right dosage of nutrients in there. So unless you're building your own fertilizer, I would look a little bit bigger.
Okay, and let's go to the third most common problem in the grow, which might look like a nutrient deficiency also because you are losing nutrients.
Yep, bugs. I think it's soon enough, man, where I can talk about them. I just had this problem. That's why I put it on this list. I was looking at my plants and I'm saying, hey, these just aren't they're not what they're supposed to be. I'm doing everything right, just like I did last harvest, but these plants look sickly. And I'm trying more calcium and more magnesium, and I'm thinking, hey, maybe my ratios are off. I'm doing all this stuff. And then one day I just sat down with the jeweler's loop and I started looking. And that time I found root aphids. I inspected the roots and I found little bugs crawling around there. And I go, man, this is the problem. I scoped the leaves a bunch, but I didn't scope the roots. So just like we talked about, the roots are your engine, pushing all the nutrient up. So if there's a problem with the engine, whether it can't breathe, it's oversaturated, or it can't breathe because it's getting gnawed on and filled with disease all the time, that's going to be an issue.
And so if it's bugs down at your roots,
Sure,
or bugs on the bottoms of your leaves or wherever,
Yep.
why is it that ends up making your plant weak?
Yeah, I mean, imagine thousands and thousands of bites. You've got whatever ticks, I'll say, for people. What do you worry about? They carry disease, right? They're not sterile. They're not clean. When they bite you, they carry disease, and that's mostly what you're worried about. Same with these bugs. So these bugs show up. First off, they're sucking the nutrient out of your plant. That's what they're living on. So they're putting a little mouth part on there. They're sucking it out, and that's what they're using to survive and make their whole families. Well, you know what I mean? Thousands and tens of thousands of these bugs. And man, they're not always so obvious. I've had spider mites before. I've had regular aphids before. I never had russet mites before. You really can't see them. It is really hard to see them. So that's why I put it on this list. That's what this whole list is about. It's not that easy. Some of these things show up and they look like other things. So if you run this list, and you say, start with watering. How's my root zone health? Honestly, you might want to do the scoping of bugs second, but it doesn't matter. And then look at your nutrients after that.
Okay, you talked about scoping or scouting for bugs. What does that entail? How do I diagnose if I have bugs?
Okay, first you got to smoke a little bit, man, and then you go into your grow at the jeweler's loop, and you hang out for 15 or 20 minutes, man, and you just take a look, and you don't only look at the one plant that's closest to you. You go in the middle of the canopy, and you grab a leaf. You grab one from up top. You grab one from down in the middle. You go to your worst circulation in the room, and you grab a leaf from there, and you look at it. And you just say, hey, is there anything crawling on the front? Is there anything crawling on the back? Do I see any damage? Do I see any evidence of bugs? And that's IPM. It's Integrated Pest Management.
You mentioned you got some in your last grow.
Sure.
But you didn't have to throw your whole grow out.
No, I managed them. Remember, management is not integrated pest eradication or even prevention. It is management. So I got these bugs, and it's an ecosystem in there. The plants were growing, the bugs were eating the plants. So I finished I added to it by adding bugs that eat other bugs. I got meat eater bugs,
So some bugs eat plants, and then some bugs eat
bugs. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I just kept the cycle going, nature's cycle going.
So is that what you would recommend people do if they find bugs?
If you're desperate to save your harvest, it cost me several $100s because you have to do 2 or 3. I think I did 3 releases. Didn't get the right bugs the first time. So it was very expensive for me. I really needed the harvest. It'd been a couple months since harvest, so I went with it. But when it comes to bugs, there are a lot of situations where you start over again. Don't use really harsh pesticides because they will show up in your medicine. But sometimes it is better off to just eradicate everything, clean the room, get new soil, clean everything, and call your buddy up for some fresh clones. Hey, but those are just the 3 things that I start with when I'm diagnosing sick plants. But what about you? How do you start? What do you look for? Let me know in the comments. If you dug this video, come on, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with another grower and come on, check out the other couple of videos YouTube's recommended. We think you'll dig them.